Yeah, I love hearing more about, step 4, and I guess I'm looking for, confirmation that I'm on the right track, I mean, I'm feeling it for sure, and my life is reflecting it.
But that's the only confirmation that counts.
Yeah.
Words from someone else, even someone like us, are meaningless because words don't teach. And so what makes you think, what makes you speculate that you might probably be there?
Be there or be on the disc?
Yeah,
or,
chronically. What's different for you now?
just my day seems to be sort of steamrolled for me. So I get up and the timing is so perfect, and
Things that you can't even, things that are happening so fast. Esther said, I need to write this stuff down, but it was happening faster than she could write it down. Just the variety of culminations. When you get in sync with infinite intelligence, and infinite intelligence is focused with you during your day, talk about right steps, talk about right leanings, talk about improved rendezvous. Almost indescribable to anyone who's not on the high-flying disc, isn't it?
for sure. I can't even explain it to people, and it doesn't feel right too. It feels like I should hold back and let them figure out their own experience,
Well, you might as well hold back in this sense. They're not going to get it anyway, and you just look like you're bragging.
It's true.
And it's really annoying to someone who wants to feel good and doesn't, to be around someone who overtly feels good and is talking about it.
I do feel good.
We don't want you to stop talking about it, but we don't want you to be disappointed if they don't get it.
That's true.
You see, here's the thing. All of you are, we would say even in every day, on high-flying and low-flying discs in terms of your point of attraction, because you are observers of things that cause you to fly high and fly low. You have a sort of average vibration, and you all know what it is. Can't you say that about your friends? Can't you describe your friends emotionally? That's a really happy girl, you say. Or that's really a focused person. Or that's really an effective person. Or that person is really a downer. Don't you find yourself emotionally describing people?
Sure.
So you're up and down, up and down, up and down, most of you all day, every day, to some degree. So the source within you, and the whole reason that your emotional guidance system exists at all, is because your inner being, the source within you, never deviates from that vibration. And when you do, you can feel the vibrational gap. That's what your emotions are. So when you're frisky, you're in alignment. When you're depressed, you're not. When you're overwhelmed, you're not. When you're angry, you're not. When you're blameful, you're not. When you're resentful, you're not. When you're hopeful, you're still not in alignment, but you're doing better. When you are in love, you're in alignment. When you are in appreciation, you are in alignment. And so this vibrational gap is all about the thoughts that you're choosing in the moment. If your inner being were like you are to each other, which is what the conversation we had with our friend just a moment ago, if your inner being were empathetic with you, if your inner being were sympathetic with you, if your inner being was wanting to be there in the emotional way that you want your inner being to be there, when you're depressed, your inner being would be too, and you wouldn't feel depression because there would be no vibrational variance between your frequencies. So when you're angry, if your inner being were angry, you wouldn't know you were angry because there would be no vibrational variance. But your inner being will not be angry because your inner being is chronically in this pure positive energy place. Can you hear that? That's why when man describes what they want to call God as angry, we say, we don't know what you're talking about. But it's not what we know to be, you see. And so when you find yourself not feeling good, you have to understand that you've found some sort of separation, is too strong a word, but some resistance to who you really are. So now, as you and Esther and so many of you are practicing this high-flying disc, so you're there chronically, just feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, feeling good, mostly good, feeling good, and when you're not feeling good, you know what to do about it. So take a nap or meditate. Do something to stop the momentum that has taken you from it. So you're chronically there. Now you're inner being like. So now you're moving around in a world with people who are sometimes there and sometimes not. if you don't do what your inner being won't do, if you don't join them in their anger, if you don't join them in their dysfunction, if you don't join them in their frustration, if you remain there, if they are going to remain in your experience, they're going to catch you in their up moments. And they all have up moments. And those are your teaching moments, you see. They will join you accidentally, by default, on the high-flying disc. And when they do, you're going to have a meaningful moment with them. Just don't try to affect meaningful moments by going and joining them on a lower disc. That's what makes you resent them. That's what makes parents want their children to behave. That's what caused this whole thing to get sort of out of balance, so that the question that our friend asked earlier is such an important question. How do we lose our way? You were willing to join one another on lower discs because the content of the conversation, the subject, seemed to matter more to you than the way it felt. That's really a breakthrough for you if you can hear it. If you will start thinking in terms of its vibrational content, which means in terms of the way it feels, rather than in terms of its intellectual properties. We'll demonstrate this in a way that will annoy you. But you'll get it. So let's say that you're having dinner with someone, some people around the table, and they are talking about a very current subject. And as they're speaking about it, nobody's feeling good. They're raising their voices. There's tension around it. A lot of complaining going on. So you don't want to go there because the vibrational content is taking you from alignment. So you try to change the subject. It's really a beautiful day today, you say. And they look at you like you're from another planet. Keep up, keep up. Keep up with the conversation here. We're talking about something important here. So you listen again, and it feels bad to you. So you become distracted because you don't want to go there. And so then you interject something in the conversation. Did I tell you about the wonderful thing that happened with my child last week? And they are annoyed that you keep changing the subject because they've chosen a subject. Oh, it feels awful, but it's the subject of the table. And if you want to be at this table, then you got to join this subject. Otherwise, you look like a weirdo. That's what we're talking about. And most humans join the topic because you don't want to look like a weirdo, rather than sustaining the vibration of life that you were born to live, you see. So the short-term conversation keeps winning out rather than the long-term sustaining of pure vibration, which then will lead you eventually into clarity and dinner conversations with another set of people in another situation. In other words, you can talk about interesting things that feel good too, you see. So that's what we mean by choosing the conversation in your own mind, or the conversation that you're having with another, based upon how it feels, based upon its vibrational relationship to who you are, rather than upon what's current in your society or around the dinner table. And it's a little hard at first, because people often say to us, my old friends seem to be going away. And we say, it isn't that your old friends are going away, it's that you are causing some separation between the active vibrational aspects of them and the active vibrational aspects of you. And in the majority of cases, once you sustain this higher frequency for a period of time, most of your friends will accidentally rendezvous with you there enough that they will start getting the hang of that high-flying place. Some of them won't, but many, many, many of them will. And then they will begin to discover what it feels like to communicate when you're all tuned in, tapped in, turned on. Talk about the mastermind concept. Talk about talking yourself into a frequency where you have access to infinite intelligence, which means you always know the path of least resistance, the path of most allowance on every subject, you see. Talk about a joyful journey. Yeah. Everybody's not ready for it, but plenty are. And if you focus upon the ones that aren't ready, then you join them on their disc and you're not ready either. In other words, you just sort of have to accept that people are where they are and choose where you want to be based upon how you want to feel, and then watch what happens. And we promise you, friends, this high-flying disc is not a lonely place. It's where the masters of your world have been and are. It's where the most sophisticated in thought are. It's where the most meaningful conversations are. It's where the most fun is. It's where the best insight into the best stories are. It's where your source is all the time. It's where the children are and want to remain. It's where the majority of the beasts of the planet are. It's where you rendezvous with the true essence of who you are. To be in complete alignment with who you are and then step into an experience that you've had before and have the experience seem like a totally different experience because your frequency has changed. It renews you in the world. People are often not on a high-flying disc and wanting to be. So they're seeking out experiences that they believe will make them feel better. But the experience doesn't make them feel better. They travel around the world and they feel the same ornery way everywhere they go. Because the external experiences cannot fill the void from the internal misalignment. So when you hear this, and it makes sense to you because it resonates with what's at your core, so you begin practicing it and you begin noticing it, then what you discover is you don't have to travel all around the world into places that you've never been before. You just need to move around the world you've been living in for a long time in places you've never been before. Then you begin to discover the true personality of those you love. Then you begin to discover the true generosity of the people of your world. Then you begin to discover the true timing and intelligence of the people who you work with. Then you begin to discover the true perfection of your interaction with one another. Because you've found alignment with the vibration that is at the core of them too. And as you become the influencer from that vibrational stance, and others begin joining you in that same vibrational place, now the experiences that you're having are unparalleled, you see. Now you've pushed the reset button. Now you're living in your world, but you're living your life through the eyes of Source. And now you're doing what you came to do. You're living joyfully and having never-ending expansion and discovering the eternal nature of your being and liking every step along the way. And even finding yourself, as we started out here today, standing in a place where something that you really want hasn't come to fruition, but you don't feel the absence of it because you know how it works. So you're feeling the eagerness of what's coming rather than the current reality that it hasn't come. When you go on vacation, you don't say, I'm going to go here and here and here and here and here and here, all these places, and then I'm going to come back home. And then you say, oh, logically speaking, since home is my final destination, and I am home, then why go? We say you didn't go on the vacation to get it done. You went on the vacation for the stimulation, for the feelings along the way, for the fun along the way. So once you start hanging around in this high-flying vibration, everything about your world will be, not just look different to you, it will be different to you, because you'll be tapping in to different frequencies of same places, different frequencies of same people, different frequencies of combinations. You have no idea how brilliant you are as a cluster of people until you've clustered on your high-flying disc. That's what's so fun about gatherings like this, or the longer gatherings on the cruises, where more people are in a more sustained way maintaining a vibrational frequency and getting to rendezvous with life from that higher frequency. You have no idea who you even are. You don't know how good you can feel till you've played with this just a little bit. You don't know how smart you are. You don't just have access to infinite intelligence. You are infinite intelligence.